which is going to be Tesla Model 3 Buyer's Remorse question, question, question. So I'm 6 months, I'm sorry, 6 weeks into my Tesla Model 3. And I've learned so much from videos that I've seen on YouTube primarily, as well as now using and driving my car. So I'm just going to go through a list of items that I've put together, and in no particular order, and I'll kind of end up by telling you the truth on my behalf. Do I have buyer's remorse? So I have a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. Supposed to get 250 miles to a charge under all the proper conditions, of course. So some important things for you. Range anxiety. After a very short period of time, I frankly no longer have range anxiety. We use the car around town, so locally, we're about to take a trip with it, and I'm comfortable that the biggest difference is doing some planning and stopping a little bit more often. But on a large trip we usually take, where we stop twice, once each day before our final stop, I would now have to stop twice as many times. So I'd have to stop twice each day. That's okay. I mean, for an extra 20 or 30 minutes, I'm okay with that. So I don't think range anxiety, in my case, is a big problem, but it is an issue, and everybody needs to know that you need to figure a way to maybe get over that. There's no spare tire, and nor does it come with a kit. So if you get a spare, you need to call somebody, unless you go out and buy one of the kits where you're able to plug in and do a repair of the tire internally, or call, if you're able to call Tesla roadside assistance. There are times where you are driving, and if you did have a problem, you could be outside of the range of your cell phone. So that could be an issue. I have not yet done anything. I'm leaning towards getting one of the kits that'll allow me to inflate it, at least temporarily, if I need to in an emergency. Home charging. I really thought long and hard. My 110 volt outlet allowed me to get 6 miles per hour charging, and that was okay because I could do it overnight and it's not a big problem. Once I'm done for the day, if I get 10 hours, I get 60 miles, and for local driving, not a bad idea. Anyway, I didn't like that. I decided I wanted something better. So I did go ahead and I installed a NEMA outlet, and I've done a video on that. So one of my videos shows the installation of that outlet. So it took me from, I installed a 240 volt outlet from a local electrician. So I got a licensed electrician. I got a couple of bids. It was $300 installed. It's close to my panel. So that was one of the reasons it wasn't as expensive as some that you do see. But I did get it installed easily. They did a great job. I'm happy with it. It now gives me 35 miles an hour charging, and so I had them install a 50 amp breaker and the outlet, and I did purchase from Tesla, because they no longer supply the NEMA 10. I'll have to check and see what it is. I think it's the 1450 adapter. So I had to buy it from Tesla for $35. So for $335, I now am able to charge at 35 miles an hour consistently. I like it, and so if you need to charge a little bit more frequently, I would highly recommend it. Superchargers are really, in most areas now, easy. We've checked most trips that we were going to take, and so I think that over time is going to become a non-issue. No floor mats. When you purchase this car, for however much money you spend on my model, there were no floor mats. So I did purchase some inexpensively on Amazon for about $50, and they're just fine. They keep everything neat and clean. They're easy to vacuum. I'm happy with them, but you need to, especially if you live in an area where either there's a lot of sand or salt or mud, whatever it happens to be, I would highly recommend that you get floor mats. There's a nice location in the front of the car for you to put your cell phones, and that's neat. It does not have a wireless charging pad, and it's a little bit cumbersome to go underneath it and to actually run your charging wire through it. But once you do it, it works really good. So yeah, I'm going to purchase a wireless charging pad that will handle two of our phones actually. I also have put a thumb drive into underneath that particular panel so I could use it for Sentry mode and recording trips. By the way, if you've done it, take a look at it. The pictures are really clear and crisp and clean. So I do like that. The front trunk is bare. It's just bare. I wish they would have put the hooks like they used to on it to hold bags, or if they'd even put some sort of carpet or some other material so things don't slide around in it. But you probably want to get something for that. I think I'm going to figure a way to put hooks in there. When you look at the range, back to range anxiety, I did notice in some testing I did that taking the same trip with the heat on and off. So in other words, if I put the heat on, I had what I would call horrible mileage, especially if you're going up and down hills. If I shut the heat off and just use the seat heaters, I would have actually gotten close to 250 miles. So you need to know your elements, your environment. Take a look if you plan a trip. It shows you where the elevations are, gives you a pretty good idea of what's going to use energy and what isn't going to use energy. So just be careful. Again, I'll just end that by saying always plan your trips if you're going to take a longer trip than just local driving. I will tell you, having a Tesla is kind of neat. Everyone looks at your car, people wave at you. I get a lot of thumbs up, a lot of okays. So I didn't expect that, nor did I really care. And then other Tesla owners are always waving to you as they pass you by. Inside the car, on the front, it's bare as could be. There's nothing, I mean absolutely nothing except this nice 15-inch screen we'll talk about in a second. I like it. A lot of people don't, I think, from time to time, but I really like it. There's not a lot of clutter. There's not a lot of things to look at except this one large screen. The screen, the 15-inch display is awesome. The movement, when you move with your finger, you touch something, everything is instantaneous. The software updates, great. Things are fixed, things are always up to date. So this screen is not cumbersome to look at, so it's not like I have to look like that. I do have to look a little bit over to the side, but it is really helpful. It's very helpful looking at traffic surrounding me, the ability to press a button and look at what's behind me. There are so many things with that screen, and so many things that you could do with it. So great piece of work that they've done on it. I wish companies would make tablets that were as good and responsive as this was. System updates I mentioned, they're welcome. And since I've had the car in 6 weeks, I've had a few updates. One of them was a big update that allowed me to see traffic lights, lines in the road, stop signs, kind of give me a preview of what may be coming in the future for full service driving, which I don't have. I just have Autopilot. But the updates, I mean, just when you get in your garage, it connects to your Wi-Fi and it just does the update. Autopilot, I love it. My wife is scared to death of it, but I do use Autopilot on major highways that are, that I'm going to stay in lane and I know what the speed limit is. Stop and go traffic, wow, it is great. I mean, you can sit there and when the car in front of you goes, you go, you stop, you tell it how many car lengths you want to be behind. it slows you down. It warns you if there's going to be a problem in front of you or around you. I mean, it is so safe. So if you can get used to using Autopilot, keeping you in the lane, uh, it's just awesome. It steers well. There's some issues when you get to an intersection with no lines. It's a problem. Car will pull quickly. Um, there's some times where I've noticed where it gets a little bit unsure of itself, but you'll learn over time. And again, on a major highway, there are no issues with it. So Autopilot, thumbs up to you. I have premium connectivity, so the main thing there is some of the streaming music, perhaps. Um, the let's see, the satellite view on the map. But other than that, there's not a whole lot to paying this $9 a month that you get. I think if I used more of the streaming there's a there's a web browser, and I've only used it once because of something we're looking for. So perhaps in the future, as I get more and more used to it, maybe the person that's in the passenger seat may look at the web browser. So right now, it's an interesting thing. I don't think it's essential, however. And let's see. When you buy the car, my particular car, there's speakers. You could see them kind of all over the place. They don't all work. So in my case, the product that I bought, there's two speakers on the passenger and the driver's side that are kind of right ahead of you. Those are not connected. The subwoofer is not connected. On the other hand, the sound is very good. I enjoy the sound. I like the sound. You could do some adjustments on it. You can even adjust it to have the sound directed on where you're sitting, so you can do some work with the balance. So all in all, I'm happy with it, but you need to know that depending on what level of car you order, you may not get all the bells and whistles that come with the sound. Regenerative braking, outstanding. It's I mean, I hardly use the brake. I take my foot off the gas. I'm getting good enough. I know when it'll stop, how fast it'll stop, where it'll get to, and of course, it allows me to expand somewhat the amount of distance that I get. So depending on what setting you put it on, I have it on, I think it's on hold, and it's great. So I would recommend that you use it if you're not uncomfortable using it. So let me try to summarize a few things here. Fun, fun, fun. This car is fun to drive. It's fun to get updates and look at the new things that are happening. It's fun to give commands by pushing a button or tapping a screen. It's fun to listen to and respond to text messaging without having to move your hands. It's just a fun car to own and to drive. It's solid. I think it's built solid. I can't find flaws. I can't find any of the problems they had in maybe some of their initial builds. It's good looking. It's the car itself is distinctive. When you look at it, you know that you're looking at a special car, and it's a Tesla. I think it's reasonably priced. People will argue that it's high. I think it's reasonably priced. I paid $41 for everything that I got with it. I think the only addition I got was probably the color. I got the gray. But I think for what you get, it's a reasonable price. The updates, the fact that this car is going to go on for a long time because they're able to update it via software, that's a winner. If you want to order one, easy to order. I mean, actually too easy to order something for that much money, but it is relatively simple to order. And did I say it's fun, fun, fun? Because it is. So I know there was no videos here. I know there were no still shots. There was nothing like that, but I wanted to at least give you some insight to a bunch of things from the car. Not everything. I mean, I have a list of some stuff that I went through with you, but I just wanted to give you my thoughts, my ideas. I would purchase this car again in a heartbeat, and I just can't tell you enough about it. So if you haven't ordered one and you want one, I'll put my referral code down below and ask you to use that. But no matter what, I do recommend